Hi, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. Today, I want to begin with a question. What if learning a new language could completely change the way you see reality? Well, today I'm exploring the movie Arrival and connecting it with chapter 20, Language and Culture from the Study Book of Language. Let me tell you that this chapter explains how language is not just a tool, it is a window into a culture, a mentality, and even a way of perceiving the world. I am going to be explaining to you six different points. Number one, culture as socially acquired knowledge. The chapter defines culture as socially acquired knowledge, the assumptions, beliefs, and categories we learn as members of a community. Arrival portrays this brilliantly. When Louise begins learning the Heptapod language, she doesn't memorize vocabulary. She slowly absorbs a completely different cultural worldview. Their concepts of life, cooperation, purpose, and especially time become part of her thinking. This mirrors the chapter's explanation that learning a language also means inheriting a cultural system behind the language. Second point, categories and lexification. The chapter explained that each language lexicalizes different categories like how English distinguishes snow, snowflake, and slush, while other cultures do not. In Arrival, the alien's writing system is circular, representing complete ideas without a beginning or an end. This shows how their categories of time differ from ours. Humans divide into past, present, and future. The heptapods categorize time as single whole, which is reflected in their language. This mirrors the chapter's point that our vocabulary shapes how we classify reality. The third point is time concepts. In the chapter, the Hopi language is used as an example of how cultures conceptualize time differently. The Hopi lacked many of the time measuring expressions like that we use in the English language. For example, 2 hours or weekend. Arrival takes this idea beyond. The heptapods language allows them to experience time non-linearly. When Louise learns their language, she begins to see past and future as if they were the present. This visualizes the chapter's idea that time concepts are culturally constructed. Number four, linguistic relativity and linguistic determinism. The chapter discusses linguistic relativity, the idea that language influences how we think. Arrival brings this theory to life. Louise's perception changes as she learns the language. Instead of thinking like a human, she starts thinking like a heptapod. The movie also dramatizes linguistic determinism, the stronger idea that language determines thought. Although the chapter warns this version isn't scientifically accepted, Arrival uses it creatively to explore what might happen if a language fully reshaped cognition. Point number five, social categories, interpretation, and cross-cultural communication. The chapter explains how social categories, titles, kinship terms, pronouns shape our interactions. While Arrival doesn't focus on family terms, it does show how cultural assumptions influence interpretation. When multiple countries hear the alien message, each nation interprets the same word differently. That is to say that some people hear the word weapon while other people in other countries, they use the word tool. So this reflects the chapter's explanation that meaning is never neutral. It is always filtered through culture and social perspective. It also resembles the chapter's section on address terms and power. Miscommunication happens not because of the words themselves, but this happens because of cultural expectations surrounding them. Now, we have the last point, that is classifiers, cognition, and expanding the language system. Let me tell you that the chapter also discusses classifiers, structures that show how a culture organizes reality. In the movie, the Hexapod language has its own internal classification system expressed through their logograms. Each symbol group ideas in a unique way, connecting them visually and semantically. Additionally, the chapter states that humans can adapt their language to include new categories, just like the Hopi adopted the English word Sunday. Louise is a perfect example of linguistic adaptability. She expands her conceptual system to understand a completely foreign worldview, demonstrating that humans can adopt new ways of categorizing experience. Now, I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my personal reflection. Well, what this movie made me realize is how powerful language truly is. It doesn't just help us communicate, it shapes the way we understand reality. The chapter explains this academically, and Arrival shows it emotionally and dramatically. It made me reflect on how my language and culture influence my worldview, my assumptions, and even the things I take for granted. Now I will give my conclusion. Arrival beautifully represents the entire chapter on how language and culture illustrates cultural knowledge, categories, time concepts, linguistic relativity, and social interpretation. So I would like to say that both the movie and the chapter show that language is more than words. It is the system through which we understand the world. Well, that's been all. Thank you so much for listening.